should accept the angel's love. When are you going to get another chance like that again? Immaculate grace from an angel.
But that's the problem. By the time it can reach you, by the time she's human, it's not really immaculate anymore, is it? I don't know if people who love you can actually help you. I mean, if they really love you, then they love all of you, including the parts that hurt. How can they help you get better if they love the part of you that's hurting? And if they don't love that part, then it's a conditional love.
How do you know so much about love? They never talk about this stuff in Cosmo.
You read Cosmo?
Guilty pleasure? But seriously, I'm actually really curious.
I spend a lot of time thinking too. My whole life is solitary. See, if they don't love that part of you, they're always waiting for it to get better. It's all based on this idea that you'll improve. How can anyone get better like that? It just seems impossible.
But it can't be impossible. People get better, I've seen it happen. After all they've been through, the boy and the angel should just be happy together.
Maybe. I mean, you're right, it's just... I don't see how.
Well, thanks. It was a good story. Let me know how it ends.
Sure. Are you gonna go to sleep?
Yeah, I thought I might wait for Lorelei to give the official lights out before turning in, but yeah.
Then I guess I'll turn in too.
Sorry I suck.
Why do you keep saying that? It's really annoying.
Night, Sara.
Night.
I need to know who's going to take care of my patients after I leave.
We can't convince you to stay.
No. I've been here watching patients fall between the cracks for 3 years. I haven't changed anything. I just want to make sure that someone here is going to do something for the patients.
Well, there's Sara.
Right.
I want to put her on SSRI antidepressants and see if she stabilizes. Then we'll recommend a sliding scale group therapist for her family, probably dialectical behavioral therapy, and hope they can work something out.
Please tell me you have something more in mind for her than that.
It's pretty standard procedure.
You just put Rebecca into solitary last night because all she wanted was a hug. Don't talk to me about standard procedure.
I respect your frustration, but we have these rules for a reason.
Fine. But even if the meds work, you can't just throw group therapy at her family and think that'll work. I saw her brother come in here last year. He's not well. Group therapy would throw him and Sara at each other's throats, and their mother really isn't healthy enough to handle any of that. There has to be something else.
There's only so much we can do, Cassandra. It isn't our job to save every last individual. There are limits. We can only do everything we can do.
Oh, and a prescription for some Lexapro and a recommendation from Dr. Mary Feelgood is everything we can do.
It's the fastest way to get her out of here, and that's the cheapest option for her family, which can't afford what may be more effective treatments, and there's nothing we can do about that.
What are we going to do for her while she's in the hospital? Will she be seeing someone?
No one as good as you. You're the most helpful counselor we have. You're absolutely certain we can't convince you to stay. As for psychiatry, I'll probably see her a few more times to investigate the possibility of borderline personality disorder.
You can't just go in looking for a diagnosis, Trisha. That's basic.
She cut herself to deal with emotional frustration and is completely and irrationally fixated on the villainy of her family. Are you saying those aren't typical red flags?
What I'm saying is that borderline is a lifelong condemnation in the psychiatric world. If you invest in a diagnosis like that right now, she may never get fairly treated again. What if her obsessions with the faults of her family are justified.
So you agree with her that if her family were better, she wouldn't have done this?
Do not patronize me. Try to understand what I am saying. I am sure that Sara is a very sick young woman, but I'm also sure that young women don't get to be very sick without seriously warped family needs. Instead of putting the pathology on her, why don't you investigate the possibility of serious familial problems and give her some kind of validation about that? Have you even considered that she might need someone to tell her that her family actually is a problem?
What makes you so sure that she needs that, or that it's even true?
For Christ's sake, she's a teenager. Family's always worse when you're a teenager. Listen, I just want to make sure that someone here has an idea that our patients are humans. Humans that are sometimes the legitimate victims of their surroundings.
I'm aware our patients can be victims. In borderline, for example, we usually look for a serious trauma in the patient's early history. But with regards to Sara's family, well, her mother was at least willing to bring her to this hospital, despite the great expense, and I think that indicates a great deal of care on her part.
Or a great deal of manipulation. What if her mother is the borderline here, and has driven Sara to this only to forcefully rein her back in with the selfless gesture of hospitalizing her?
All the more reason why group therapy will play a significant factor in figuring this out. And it would make sense to look for borderline in the parents. I'll definitely keep that in
This
mind.
isn't about whether or not Sara's mother is the borderline here. This is about the possibility that Sara isn't. The possibility that your initial assessments may not be accurate. The possibility that the people here deserve to be treated as humans and not symptoms.
And we strive to do that every day. Cassandra, have you been taking your medication?
Don't you dare make this about me and my issues. They are none of your concern and they have nothing to do with this conversation. I don't need your help, but the patients do. You're not just a doctor, for Christ's sake, you're a human. So start acting like one and let's figure out what we can do for these kids before I leave.
I'm sorry, but I don't think you're in any state to be talking about their care. I think you should go home and rest and send me your thought about procedures for your patients in an email.
Listen to me, all right? Rebecca needs help. She needs it more than anyone else in this ward. Jacob, he thought his father was possessed by the devil, so he tried to choke him, but he's got a very supportive family. He'll be fine. Alexander is the most depressed kid I've ever seen. But he's got a lot of money behind him, and he can get whatever help he needs. Even Sarah's going to be okay in the long run. But Rebecca needs more. She's on a downward spiral. Do you have any idea what kind of hell that girl lives in?
We're doing everything we can to take care of the patients, Cassandra. I don't want to have this discussion unless you can calm down. I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
I think she's a multiple. Do you have any idea what that means? Any idea at all?
The literature is somewhat inconclusive on that matter, but I will investigate your theory. Now please go rest. I'll take care of it.
I can't just leave her, don't you get that? She doesn't have a family. She's been in and out of this ward as long as I've been here. She's only 17. You know what kind of trauma patients have to endure to dissociate their identities. She's only 17. She needs a family. She doesn't need this. I have to go.
Please, take good care of yourself. Even if you don't come back here, even if you never counsel again, we want you to be happy. You can always call one of the doctors on staff if you ever need a consultation.
Trisha, the my services are available bullshit is really tired. And I'm sure it works great when you want to be distant and aloof and completely separate from anything human. But most people like to be given aid by someone who engages with them as a person, not as a machine. Do you have any idea what it feels like to be attacked anymore? Being immune to the emotions of the people around you is really invalidating.